Hi, my name is Stephen Hick, and I would like to talk about not fighting with what is arising in each moment of life. Let's begin with a story that captures what all of us struggle with, and then at the end of the video, I will detail the solution to this persistent cause of suffering in our lives. In the heart of a small cafe, tucked away on a busy city street, a man named Henry sat, nursing a lukewarm cup of coffee. Around him, life swirled in its relentless, unpredictable rhythm. Yet Henry, lost in thought, wasn't really there. His mind had transported him elsewhere, locked in a heated debate with reality itself. Henry's inner monologue was a battleground. He was replaying a conversation with his boss from earlier that morning, dissecting each word with the precision of a neurosurgeon. Henry, muttering, "She shouldn't have said that. I deserved better." The problem was, of course, she had said it. Reality, with its unforgiving clarity, had spoken. But Henry's ego wasn't ready to concede. This is the crux of our suffering. The stubborn belief that we can somehow win an argument with what is. Whether it's the world outside or the turmoil within, we resist, insisting that the way things are is not the way they should be. It's an age-old battle, fought in silence, with a mind that refuses to accept the immutable nature of reality. The truth is disarmingly simple. Reality is what it is. It doesn't bend to our desires or reshape itself to accommodate our expectations. It's unyielding, indifferent, and yet we persist in our madness. We rail against it, shouting silently, "This isn't right. I'm not right. You're not right." The sense of wrongness grows like a shadow at dusk, stretching across our lives, darkening everything it touches. Henry's battle with his boss was just one skirmish in a lifetime of wars waged against reality. As he sat there, staring into his coffee, the thought crept in. Uninvited. Henry, thinking, what if I'm the problem? What if the only thing wrong is my belief that something is wrong? It was a destabilizing idea, one that made him shift uncomfortably in his seat. But it carried a peculiar weight, a resonance that couldn't be ignored. When we believe something is wrong, with the world, with ourselves, we act accordingly. We treat the world badly, dismissively. We treat ourselves even worse. The more convinced we are of our inherent wrongness, the harsher we become. This self-directed cruelty masquerades as self-improvement, as if berating ourselves will somehow lead to a better version of who we are. Henry's mind wandered to a memory from his childhood. A day he had come home with a failing grade. His mother's words had been sharp and cutting. "Mother, VO, you'll never get anywhere like this." The message had planted itself deep, taking root in his psyche. He had carried it with him, a quiet, insistent voice whispering that he was fundamentally flawed. And yet, he had never questioned the voice, never paused to ask if it was telling the truth. There's a fear, deeply embedded, that if we stop arguing with reality, the world will spiral out of control. If I let go, everything will fall apart. The hungry won't be fed, the needy will be ignored, chaos will reign. But this fear is another illusion, a trick of the mind. The world doesn't need our constant resistance. It needs our presence, our willingness to engage with what is, as it is. Henry's coffee was cold now, untouched. He stared at the swirl of cream that had long since stopped moving, a perfect metaphor for his own stalled state, and then without warning, a thought hit him like a thunderclap. I can't win this argument. I can't win against life. It's an unwinnable fight. The realization didn't bring despair. Instead, it brought a strange, unexpected relief. For the first time, he felt the faintest flicker of peace. When the heart opens and the mind relaxes, we find ourselves in the present moment. And while the present may be imperfect, it is still sufficient. You might currently feel like a chaotic mess, filled with contradictions and unmet expectations. However, if you can genuinely embrace that chaos, truly accept it, something extraordinary occurs. Resistance fades, along with suffering. What remains is freedom, a quiet and profound sense of liberation that comes from accepting life as it is. Henry rose, leaving his untouched coffee behind. As he emerged onto the bustling street, the noise and chaos felt less overwhelming, less personal. The world hadn't transformed, but something within him had shifted. For the first time in a long time, he found himself at peace. He was simply present, navigating life as it is. If you found this video helpful, please click the like button and subscribe to the channel. Also, please feel free to leave comments or ask questions.